So I'm going to click on whiteboard first, and you can use your finger. During COVID times, I recommend always using the pen because it's easy to disinfect, whereas the board is not as easy to disinfect like the pencil is. Okay, so it's just kind of generic right now, kind of a little bit like Microsoft Paint. But down here on the bottom, you have some different icons that you can use. The first one, and always the default, is going to be your pencil, to where you can start writing. And it's very nice. It's very easy to use. It feels kind of, just like you're writing on a whiteboard without the expo markers, I know. But you can click down here again on your pencil, and it gives you the option to change the color of the pencil that you're using. It gives you the option to change the broadness of that pencil tip. So I might want to really highlight part of what I'm doing to make it stand out a little bit more, and I could do that. Okay. You also have different types of pencils underneath there. You have a paintbrush, which is super cool. It didn't apply my paintbrush, or maybe it did. I just didn't make it be, yeah, there we go. I just didn't make it be more broad. But the paintbrush is really pretty. And again, you can change the color of that. And you don't have to use just those 12 colors there. You can use any color on the spectrum just by clicking over here to find the most appropriate color for whatever it is that you're doing. You have a water brush, I think. It's a water brush that you could use. And then you have your eraser. Now, I was guilty when I first got the eraser, or first got the Clevertouch board, by trying to erase everything. And it would take a long time. You can use the side of your hand to erase a larger section at a time. So I really do like that. And you can make the eraser be tiny if you make a mistake. So you have that. And you also have over here to the side, that one's more of like a marker. You have more of a fine-tuned pencil. Change it from the eraser over there. So there's just a little difference, but it might make a difference if you are in the classroom and you're trying to use those. Now, you don't necessarily have to have the eraser selected in order for the hand trick to work. You can just put the side of your hand on there. The trick is that you have to apply some pressure, because right now it's mostly my knuckle that was hitting it, and you can see that it's not erasing. So don't apply too much to where you're breaking it, but just apply just a little bit of pressure and that eraser will pop up. Beside of the pencil, you have a little icon that has an A in a box, and we know that that means that something's going to be correlated to text. So for instance, if I start writing, and you can tell my handwriting is kind of sloppy, I can click that little down arrow and it's going to put that in a nice text for me. So I don't have to worry about my sloppy handwriting slowing the kids down. So you can see, even though I wrote in cursive and it looks really sloppy, it still is able to read that. So that's a pretty cool feature. The next one is an equation button. So if you teach math and you teach kind of upper levels of math, that button might be your best friend. So if we were writing 5x plus 3y equals 15, we can see that that same feature pops up to where we have the equation written for us. And if we click on it, it's going to apply it right there. It did make it be really small. So if you click on the hand, you can zoom in. So that's a pretty nice feature to have. Okay. So you have an eraser, you have the delete button, which would delete everything on your page. And if you ever accidentally click that and you're like, oh no, I didn't mean to erase everything, you can always click the undo button over here in that bottom kind of right-hand corner, but more so, you've got another button. So don't click that one. There's shapes as well, which are really cool. So I can make it be a square. If I click on it again, I have different shapes that I can pick from. I'm always kind of, I struggle with drawing triangles, especially when I was teaching Pythagorean theorem. My triangle sides always look crazy, so you have that option. But in addition to all of these, you also have the 3D option, which is super cool because for those of us with challenges of drawing spheres and cylinders and all of that, that kind of takes away some of that pressure and judgment from students who can draw way better than we can. And just like with the pencil, you can make that be any color that you want. So pretty awesome whenever you're talking about finding the area and circumference of shapes, but also awesome just for making Venn diagrams to where they will be equal. Now, I talked about the hand a little bit a while ago, but these boards are completely, they can go on forever. They're completely infinite. So you can have one huge board and you can zoom out to where you can find like, oh, I wrote so much. Where's everything at? You can keep zooming until you find it and then you can zoom in. So that feature is super cool. Like if you have a ton of notes that you're sharing with kids and you're talking through something, or if you have a lot of shapes that you want to preload onto there, you can have them all on one page. The last icon that we're going to talk about through here is the little palette. It looks like a paint palette. And if you click that, that's more for like our art teachers and everyone that needs a little bit more fine-tuned art strokes and all of that. So you have everything built right there. You've got the paintbrush, the water brush. They all act just a little different. And then now you've got a colored pencil. So just another option for you. And when you get finished with that one, it's going to open up in a new slide. So to get back, you just hit that bottom right-hand corner right here, and it'll take you back. Okay? Now, finally, in the bottom left-hand corner, you have new slides. So you can treat this just like a PowerPoint, or you can treat this like a Google Slides to where you can add a new page. And you can have these preloaded if you wanted to with different content for the day. That way, if you had like a slide for period 1 that you wanted to have, you could have it, and so on and so forth. And you can have as many of those slides as you want. In the bottom left-hand corner over here, we have some different tools as well. So if we click on the cogwheel, the do not touch will make it be to where they can't move around, but they can still write. And then you've got the do not touch to where they can't write, so nobody can change your stuff. Turn those back off. You also have this QR code, which is something kind of new. And if you have an odor interactive display or a ViewSonic, I don't think that either of those have this ability. But students can use their phone to scan this, and they will be able to have a copy of whatever you've written there. The X button will exit you, and then finally, over here to the far right, the 3 dots is where you can open a new one, open a saved one. You can save this, you can import or export it. You can apply a background, send an email, and change the brightness. The last thing to talk about really is that background. You can change the color of it, but the cool thing is you can change the texture of it. You have graphs and lined paper, primary lined paper. You have musical staff notes. And then you, of course, have sports backgrounds too. And you have a few more underneath there. So that's pretty cool. And you could also upload your own, which we're going to talk about in just a little bit. So the whiteboard has so many options in there. And believe it or not, we're not done talking about it. We're going to have another section later on where we're going to talk about how to take images from online and be able to edit them directly inside of here.